So once you set up the call file, the next important thing is the parameter files, which will be a global settings. So you have to go to options, settings, and it will open up all the parameter file options. So the important factors here are like the SIP options, where you can select like send the HTTP in white or not, and what all things you want. If you're running as the answer side, you can say like send trying, send ringing, like that. And another important is like set up how many maximum call start rate you want. Like if you put 0, it will start as many calls at in 1 second, and it might break your SBC or PBX, anything. So we will recommend you to put some value so that it linearly goes up and it does not cause any problem. So in this case, I just put 20. And the next, after this, next will be the media, where you will say like what media you want to advertise to make the call. We always have the default as the standard ones, ULO, ALO, and G729. But you can easily remove this to the left side, and you can choose your own audio codec file which you want to test, like a G728, or you can just go back and select like only one codec like G711 ALO. And we have also video capabilities if you want to do some video testing, and you can do just signaling testing by just unchecking this RTP enabled. So it will do all the signaling part except the RTP part. So if you just want to make sure if the signaling and SIP messages, everything looks good, you can just disable the RTP and make the calls, or you can enable it by just checking it, clicking it. And then you can also enable DTMF. We do have like two options. One is RFC 2833 section 3, and other is SIP info method. And you can also like set up all the power options, transmission, end bits, etc. And WinSIP also comes with a option to set up DHCP or type of service options. You can select what priority you want to set for each stream, and you can also set up like RTCP enabled or disabled option. That's for the media. Then we go for the proxy. Proxy is where you set up all the proxy server and registrar address. You can enable it, and you have to put, for making a registration, you have to put both the proxy IP address right here and right here. And you can also enable some delays for sending the registration SIP messages out. You can uncheck if you don't want to do any of those. And that's for the proxy. And next is error injection, which is if you want to do some negative testing, you can enable that. And you can see the options pretty much like you can select like change call ID for like 20% of the call. You can say like 20%. So when the call is complete, like in the middle of the call, it will change the call ID, or a drop require header, a drop branch parameter, etc. It all depends. Or you can also say like don't send ACK, or like affect all calls, or like the percentage of the call. And then if you're running as the answer mode, you can send like a custom messages, 480 errors, like that, not applicable, like that, and that's it. Like if you don't want to do any error injection, you can just uncheck it. And advanced features is mostly to test these features has been added for the customer requirements. And for example, like in this media path confirmation, you have to have like two WinSIPs on back to back, and both have to have like the same test type. And what it does is basically it's like it sends a DTMF digits of like local ID to from one side, and the other side also sends a local ID, and we match up and make sure everything is right. We didn't lose any DTMF packets. And after doing like number of maximum repetitions, we say like a media path was confirmed or not. And that was media path confirmation. And we do media recording, like if you want to record incoming streams, or if you want to create like new codec, you can always click record incoming streams, and you can say like raw or packetized format. And we have XML scripting, TextML, XML request templates, where you can edit the outgoing XML outgoing SIP messages, and you can play with that. Enable tone detect also is like one of the type of making confirmation like the media is flowing through the conference bridge. We have call block option, which does you can enable it, and if you have 100 calls, it will finish the first specified block size, and it will go step by step by step, and until it finishes all the calls. That was advanced. Custom headers is same as like you can add any addition to the existing SIP messages, like invite message. You can add a invite message, and you can send that in every invite request going out, or updates, or you can choose what messages you want to send out. And we have reports, which we have like three types of reports. Like you can choose three formats, which is ASCII, tab, or HTML. And call data records, as soon as the call is completed, it will log into the reports. And same as session summary is like every time you start and stop, it will record all the calls, completed calls, how many calls were passed, failed, error percentage, etc. And we have logging options, which is for mostly debugging for us. If you have any problem, we will, like, you can increase the debug level, and you can start the test, and it has all the information, like most of the, like, where the packets went, where it stopped, and everything. And preferences is this is a place where you set up like what type of protocol you want to use, UDP or TCP, fixed port or unique ports, trace all calls or not, like that, just for user preferences mostly. And it's pretty, you can see some validity check if you want to do busy here as cancel or errors, ramp up the call options, you can enable that, disable. All the user preferences options are right there. And the next will be directories, where all the files are stored. You can choose your own files if you want, directory if you want to save it in a different location. Support, if you have any problem, you can contact us through help and support, contact support, and it will zip up the files and send it to us for any more debugging. Peer options gives you options to peer with other touchtone applications, which is on the LAN network, and you can basically connect to it and start and stop different applications. We do also have, apart from reports, we also have database. It stores all the call data into a MySQL for further reports, custom reports, and etc. So that was all SIP options, mostly on the SIP signaling and media and preferences.